Hi, and welcome to King's Football Show. Today is the Royalty Podcast, and we are going to discuss the Premier League. And I got with me my two very good friends, Bobby and Steven. How you guys doing?
I
Offend,
can't not stop
I'm,
laughing when you say royalty.
mate, mate. I'm offended. He said him first. I'm offended.
Oh, sorry. Let me start again. So I got with me Steven, Featley, and Bobby. Thank you guys for joining. How you guys doing?
I'm good.
I'm alright, man.
Nice.
I'm alright.
Good stuff. So yeah, we've had two very entertaining weeks of Premier League. I guess all of us has missed it, and it's finally back. What have
Yeah.
you made of the first 2 weeks? I'll start with you, Stephen.
Good start for Arsenal. Uh, sorry, I just got to do this for a minute. Let's all laugh at United.
Oh, is that for Arteta? Can you finally see the
No,
light?
no, no, no,
Uh,
no, 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 no. This is the dark, cold. Look, I can see the darkness of Man United as it soars deeply into the pits, right? And I see no way out. Like beautiful,
yeah,
like
yeah.
this. Like how much stick did we get last season? And they took
Oh, we
one
got a
game
lot of
less.
stick.
And they took one
Mm,
game less than us to get to the bottom.
yeah, we got a lot of stick
We got
last
to give them a round
season.
of applause for that. Round of
It
applause for
was
that.
tough. It was tough. I can't lie, but it's looking better now, guys. How you guys feeling? What about you, Bobby? How do you feel after the first two game weeks of Premier League? Where's your head at?
I think Arsenal have had a decent start. I'm concerned defensively for us still. Um, as for you know me and about the refs, the last weekend was awful. United, I fear for him. To be honest, I really do fear for him. Liverpool, what did I say to you, King? I said
Yeah, yeah,
Liverpool are not going to be a force this year, and they're proving it. They just cannot. With Mane was so important to him, and I don't think the Liverpool fans actually got how important he was because he could win dirty,
yeah,
and we may not have liked it as fans watching him, but he
yeah.
had a way of just getting a goal from somewhere or creating a chance from somewhere.
Yeah,
So yeah,
he kind of remind me of Diego Costa, just not a
yeah,
similar roles where
mm,
you love to have them in your team, you hate to play against them.
yeah,
And as you said, like Mane was a force on the wing. He could score, and even when he didn't score assist, he was always a threat. He
yeah,
always worked hard, and it was hard for defenders to face him. So he would give out more space to your Salahs, to your Trent, to your Robertson, and I can see that they miss him. And I also feel like they have been a bit slow on reacting to Milner and Henderson's aging, and that's why I feel like Liverpool are in a mess in that midfield because as fantastic as Thiago is, fitness is an issue for him. I don't think Elliot is at that stage where if you want to compete at Champions League and Premier League level, he can be a starter. I don't think Curtis Jones either. And Keita and Chamberlain are always injured. They're always injured. It almost like a reminiscence. You remember when we had like Wilshere, Diaby, Rosicki, and they were good players, but they were always injured.
yeah. Spot on.
Yeah, but City looks frightening
Yeah,
again.
they look strong. They look
They've
seriously strong.
started the season excellent, and they have not even fired all cylinders yet. They are going to be a problem, and I know that a lot of Liverpool fans are not worried yet because last year they had the ability to catch up on City, even though they were a lot of points behind them. I think what they forget is that City normally doesn't start well, and the fact that they have started well, it's going to be a problem for Liverpool to catch them. I don't know if you guys agree.
Yeah, spot
Yeah.
on.
Well, like I mean, I thought Liverpool would be more determined than ever to after what happened at the end of last season. But at the moment, he needs to get their act together. Otherwise, they're in deep shit.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I agree. I agree. I agree. So what do you make of the teams that have joined from Championship? We got Bournemouth, we got Fulham, and we got Nottingham Forest. What's your assessment?
Um, Nottingham Forest played well this weekend. To be honest, I think they deserved, on balance, probably deserved the game, deserved the win. I felt. Um, uh, Dean Henderson, I love how like he's gone to Nottingham Forest and he's playing better than David De Gea. It's quality. Uh, but it's just stop smiling. It's just not helping me. just,
but, but I can't disagree. Is it? It's nice to see that um, the way United have treated Henderson and promised him game
do you
time,
know what?
promised
Do
him
you know what the thing
that he's gonna
is
get an opportunity, and
with
they didn't
Forest?
do that.
I've always said this season. I thought I always had that feeling Forest were going to stay up. Like, and they're not even finishing the transfer market. Apparently, they're about to sign a war, as far as I know. Right
Yeah, they are.
and, now, hello, if he was available, why aren't Arsenal going in for him? Like, we've
If
been
I'm
wanting him
honest,
for we
I don't
wanted him
want
for
him at
friggin'
Arsenal.
ages.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
he's
but
one
he's a
of
target
them
we wanted ages.
players. I think we were lucky. We dodged a bullet when we went for Partey instead of Aouar. If we would have put in 50 million on Aouar, oh, we would have regretted it. Ever since that, he's been poor for Leon. He's not helped them, and he's been
I like
benched a
to see
lot.
how he. I like to see how he does against in the Premier League though. I think Steve Cooper's doing a really good job there.
Yeah, he is. He is.
And
He
I
is.
do feel that um I do feel that they yeah they'll be fine for me. They'll be fine. They'll be like Brentford last season, to be honest.
Yeah. Yeah, I rate him. I think Liam Cooper, when he joined them, you could see how much he improved them in Championship, and we got the taste of
Oh,
that in the FA Cup. They beat us. I think they beat Spurs as well, and I think this season they are gonna give troubles to a lot of team. I still think that they will finish around
that ground's gonna be
16th,
like
but I
horrible
think
to go to.
they have a big opportunity to stay up. I think they were a bit lucky against West Ham. I don't really understand how West Ham didn't score, and obviously some of the decisions from the referees. I've spoken about them enough, but they were controversial. But again, luck is part of football, and you have to ride it, especially if you're a team that comes up this year. You need luck.
In the end, to be fair, like West Ham even had a penalty and they didn't score. So for me, it's just like something written in the stars that they were going to win that game. To be honest, like I mean, the penalty was poor by West Ham. So as much as West Ham could say we should have at least deserved the point out of the game, you quite as you said, well, you had the chance to have the point and you didn't. You didn't take it.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah,
But
like
I'm just quickly gonna go through some of the comments. Big up to each and everyone who's tuned in. Big up Brush. Big up Matt. Thank you for tuning in, my guy. He said Forrest got lucky. Yeah, yeah, they did get lucky, but you need luck in
mm,
football, especially if you're a small team. You definitely need your luck. It's important. And big up Eugene as well. Hi everyone. Big up back Conte. As you can tell, he's a Spurs fan. And Matt is saying that our is not good enough. That's why he's going to Forest. And he's also saying it's too early to judge Forest. A lot of signings to bet in. It's a massive risk signing that many players. I mean, it is a risk. It is a big
mm,
risk, but I think they also showed that they got ambition. And the problem
mm.
with Forest was that they loaned in so many players last season that they had to buy players because they didn't own enough players. I think they owned something like 16 players only if they didn't buy.
Yeah.
So I think people have to take that into to context as well. And they seem to be buying smart as well. I think Dean Henderson is a smart signing. I think Lingard is going to help them. I think
Yeah,
Neco Williams look
it
good for
speaks a
them as
lot.
well.
It speaks a lot when Lingard decides he's going to go Forest rather than West Ham.
Yeah, yeah,
And I think
yeah.
West Ham also have the Conference League. They're still in Europe.
Oh
I
yeah,
believe they're
you're
still
right.
in Europe, aren't they?
They
It's got the
yeah,
Conference League.
they are in what's it
Mm.
called? They are
In the
in the
Conference
Conference
League,
League.
yeah,
Yeah,
they,
That's why
they
when
qualifies
people. That's why
tomorrow.
when people. That's why when people saying that they'll be all right. I'm like, what you want about? They're playing on a Friday. Like they'll be playing on Fridays. That's gonna
Mm.
be killer for them.
Are they gonna move them to Fridays? I thought they were playing the same day as the Europa
No,
League.
no. Usually they play some of them on Fridays.
Okay, okay. Yeah, I didn't watch the competition. I only watched it sometimes when Spurs got beaten. It was quite funny to, to see them bottle the Conference League. Yeah, I know. I'm a bit salty, but yeah. Oh, we got some new guys tuning in as well. Big up, Moss. It was nice to see you, man. I hope you arrived safe in Canada. I hope you enjoyed your trip in England as well, man. Thanks for tuning in. So yeah, what did you guys make of the Aston Villa and Everton game? It was
I
two
didn't see
one
much of it.
Aston Villa.
Didn't see much of it to be honest.
Okay, did you watch it, Bobby?
Yeah, you know me. I watch as many games as I can.
Yeah,
Um, it's two teams that I don't think they've worked out what suits them yet. Lampard clearly is going to make more signings. I think Villa probably will as well. So their team isn't fully gelled together yet. But if you want to compare the two, I think if Everton had a striker, they probably could have either drawn or maybe even won it because they did look better on the attack for me. They're just lacking that killer threat. But yeah,
Mm.
you know, Villa are going to finish above Everton, but I think both teams will be absolutely fine. I don't think they've got anything to worry about whatsoever for relegation.
yeah. I think Villa got enough quality players to stay safe. The question is if they can kick on to the Conference League
I thought you were
with
going to
the
mention the coach then.
that's
I thought, here we go, the agenda.
yeah, I know. No, but for me, it's like it's gonna be interesting to see for me if Aston Villa if they can go to the next step because I do think they have a good
I
squad.
just thought
I
so
do
about
rate
Aston Villa in the
Matthew
top.
Cash. I think he's a good defender. Luca Digne got he's a French international, and then obviously they bought Diego Carlos. They got Konsa. They got Chambers, they got Mings, and in midfield they got players like McGinn, Jacob Ramsey, Coutinho, Buendia, you know, Traore, Bailey. I mean, Ings and Watkins. I think with a good manager, they
Oh,
should be aiming to get a Conference League. In my opinion, I think we
sorry. About Aston Villa. This would make my day. This would really make
what
my
happened.
day. With one particular guy on Twitter, who's
Yeah,
apparently a Rob Holding advocate. Aston Villa interested in signing Rob Holding. Does that mean if he
Yeah.
signs him, he's going to piss off the freaking Villa? Like,
Well, that's because
like,
yeah.
Diego Carlos is out for 6 months, and or something like that now. So
yeah,
Oh,
yeah, yeah.
you're right. You're right.
Thank the
Um,
Lord. There's
Diego
someone else's
Carlos. That's
sense.
But yeah, but it's interesting though that they don't seem to trust Chambers at centre back.
Mm. But then, to be fair, like if what we've got
But
Gabriel
I
Sim,
would sell. I would sell Holding
I'd
if the
sell
price is
Holding.
right. I
Yeah,
would sell him.
he ain't gonna be much. He ain't gonna get much for him.
What do you make of it, Bobby? Would you sell or keep?
oh, you know, I've when I did my fantasy window a few months ago, I sold him for 10 million quid. I was like, see you later. So the only time you're going to get any actual quality value for him now is now. Next
Yeah,
season, we're going to get less. So just sell him now. If we're going to sell him, get ready.
100%, hundred
Well,
percent.
apparently, no,
Because
apparently, having Holding, Ben White, Gabriel, and Saliba, we have the best Premier League defense in the league.
yeah, let me introduce my friend from the Discord as well, my African brother, the man Sasha. Welcome. How you doing, man?
King, what is up? It's good to be here, man.
It's good to have you on finally.
Yeah. So, how are you guys feeling about Arsenal at the moment? That's things are looking good.
Probably the same. How you feeling about Villa? The Ferrari side.
You had
Oh,
to
this
go
is
there, didn't you? You had
interesting.
to go
We
there.
got
You had to
two
go there.
F1 fans
Oh
here.
no!
She
You've actually got
Four players.
you've actually got free king because I'm also
Three. Sorry,
F1.
sorry. So this might turn into a F1 stream because Steven is a big fan of what's it called again? Oh,
Hamilton.
Hamilton. He's almost a Hamilton fanboy. I know he
Yeah,
won't
I'm
admit
proud
that,
to be
but
one. So what's your
yeah, you
problem?
see, you see. No, it's no problem. It's just interesting, I'm just saying, you know,
Anyone but Verstappen is fine, you know. Anyone but Verstappen.
yeah, we like that. We like that. We like that. Yes, social. We did say F1, and we got a controversial comment here from the Canadian himself. Moss is saying
Ugh.
F1 is not a sport.
Mate, if it's not a sport, you jump in the car and you fucking drive it.
Are you saying it's an event? Well, we might have
He's
to
got a
bring
point.
Moss
He's got, yeah,
in.
he has got a point. I'll give him that one.
Yeah,
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 yeah.
Yeah,
same,
he's got a point
same.
on that. After last season, yeah, I'll give him that one.
All
I'll say
right.
that. I'll give him that one.
Okay, fair play, fair play, fair play. But yeah, Sasha, what's your view on Arsenal? They won the first two games. They've scored 6 goals, conceded two. We still have players like Smith Rowe, Tomiyasu, Tierney, Vieira coming back. What's your view on Arsenal?
I'm really excited about Arsenal at the moment. Not gonna lie, like, I haven't felt this good about Arsenal since supporting them, and it's been 13 years, almost 14 years now that I've supported them, and never have I ever felt so good about them as I do currently. Not only do we have like a good team, but we have a good team that's like gonna grow into the future, and that's really exciting for me. For this season, I'm hoping Bobby knows. I'm hoping we get two more players in. Um, so that we really have a good all round squad, because for the first time in a while we have more than one player per position, and I think that's what cost us in the past. I think everyone will agree with me, is the lack of depth. Um, One player gets injured, three players get injured at the same time. The level drops too much, and it's costing us too much points. It also limits us in the cup competitions and in the Europa League competition of going further. So um, I'm so happy that we have, Tomiyasu at right back. We have Ben White possibly at right back, and then okay, Cedric is a bit of a drop off, but he can come in and do a job sometimes. On left back now we have Zinchenko and we have Tierney, two guys we are fighting for. Who's gonna start? Should it be Zinchenko? Should it be Tierney? And I can't be happier about that, because some people is like fighting before, like, to be like some sort of agenda or something, like they have to, this guy, they picked up this guy, so this guy has to start. And I'm just like, okay, you can continue bigging him up, I don't mind, because I I love the competition, and I love that we have two players fighting for position. And it almost feels like we almost are there in every position. Not world class in every position, for two players for every position. I mean, like, from Jesus to Nketiah, still a bit of a drop off. Um, but I do still love Nketiah, and I think he will have an opportunity this season to prove himself. I mean, if we do well in cups and in the Europa League, we surely will be playing around 60 games this season. And Gabriel Jesus is not going to play 60 games, 90 minutes this season. That's just not going to happen. So I do
Yeah,
see Nketiah getting possibly 35 plus appearances in all competition, whether that's
Oh god.
starting or from the bench. So he will have a chance to prove himself. Um, so if we can get two more players in the summer of good quality, not rotational quality, not necessarily they have to be world class players. They just need to be good quality that can push the guy in his position, threaten his place. what is happening with Smith Rowe and Martinelli. Look how Martinelli is now blossoming, and I'm hoping that Smith Rowe is also going to relish the challenge of the position um, with Martinelli. So yeah, that's my opinion at the moment.
Yeah, yeah. Now I can understand your excitement, especially if you look at where we were after the end of Wenger era and how the players turned on Emery at his. When the players turned on Emery, I lost almost all hope of Arsenal because I couldn't see where we were going as a club. I didn't see any plan that I liked. I didn't like the structure of the club. I wasn't a big fan of Raul. I wasn't a big fan of the players we were buying and the wages we were giving to them. So, one thing that I can praise this new kind of um, board or these people that are now in charge of Arsenal is that at least now we have a much better wage structure. We buy players much better than we did before. The next stage is to continue to buy well, but also to sell well. I think if we want to sustain long term progression, we need to get money in from the players because KAC is not going to be able to constantly uh, put money into the club while we are making a loss. We do have to start making profit as a club, otherwise it can turn. And we also, this season is the season where no matter what, we have to reach Champions League. The players we have bought have not joined Arsenal to continue to play in the Europa League. But I agree with you. It looks better. I still hope that we can get two players in. I still want one more body in midfield, and I need one more body in attack as well. Because Smith Rowe, he worries me with his injuries, and when he's out, the bench is Eddie and Pepe for attacking options, and it's not good enough for the season. So we need to improve on that.
Because
I
Pepe
think,
won't play. It's because he won't play Pepe.
yeah, yeah. Again, like I don't think Pepe will play a lot in the Premier League. He probably will play more in. I don't even know if
I
he's
don't
gonna
think he'll.
stay
I don't.
Pepe.
I don't even. I don't even know if he would play Pepe in Europa League. I don't even have
No, he
confidence
would
in that.
play in. He always play him in the. But the thing with Pepe is that he's been linked back to Lille, so he might leave. I don't know how true that is because I can't see how they could afford his wages unless Arsenal stands for 70% of his wages because
King,
it's yeah,
the person that owns Nice owns
yeah.
Ineos.
Ah,
Sir
okay.
John Ratcliffe. He's
Yeah.
got money.
Okay,
Trust me, he's got
okay.
money.
Good, good,
Yeah,
good,
So
good.
you're
So
telling me
you might
Pepe
find
to
a
Nice
solution.
done?
I'm pretty sure within a week, I reckon that's going to be done.
Okay, well that's very good news. I'm quite
You heard it here
unfortunate.
first on King's Football Show. Pepe is going to Nice.
It's
So
definitely
you
it's
guys,
definitely a loan. So
yeah,
yeah, it's going to be
yeah,
a
yeah,
loan.
yeah. But it's
It's
good. I
quite.
think he needs to play. If Pepe plays well for Nice next season, which I think he will, he's a quality player. Then someone might give us 10, 15 million the season after when he got
Well,
one
this
year
is
left.
this is what Sasha was saying to me the other day, weren't you, Sasha? You were saying that if he has a good
Yes.
season, we're actually going to have
Mm.
get some money for him
And
now.
the thing for me is Pepe is actually a good player. Like I don't know
Hmm.
what went wrong at Arsenal. Like from the moment he got here, like the first game, he's on the bench under Emery, and it's almost like Emery was making a statement, like saying, "I didn't want him, so I'm gonna leave him on the bench to show you that I didn't want him." Which is unfortunately that he
He's
came
never
to
felt wanted at
Arsenal.
this club.
Yes, and no one really wanted him here except for Rahul, who made the transfer and overpaid for him and shattering his confidence and reputation in the meantime.
And nicking
But
20 million at the same time.
yes, exactly. So the thing is, like Pepe, every time he had a run in the side, he scored goals. I mean, at the back end of 2 seasons ago, he got a few Premier League games in, and he scored in all of them. And there was a couple of tough games that he scored in. And I think he's a really good player. And I remember I was really excited when we signed him. Like I was over the moon. Like I'm gonna get Pepe tattoo on me, that type of level, Uh,
Don't blame
and
me.
then
You're not the only one. I was. I'm not gonna lie. I didn't know much about Pepe when he joined Arsenal. Uh, I wasn't convinced of what I saw on YouTube. But then when I saw him against Liverpool, that's when I got sold. I was like, oh, this. We got a person now who's gonna run at defenders, who's tricky, who's got a good left foot. I think he was unlucky to not get a goal in that game. And then, as you said, I feel like
He's never scored.
Emery didn't trust him. The only one who kind of trusted him was Ljungberg. And you
Yeah,
remember when we played West Ham, I think Martinelli, Aubameyang, and Pepe, they
that's
all
that's
started and they all
that's the
scored.
one game that's the one game I pick out because that's the one game for me. He got the freedom to express
Yeah,
himself in that
and
game.
yeah,
that
Uh,
was one game that we played really well in.
um,
yeah, we
yeah,
did.
and we played really well in that game. And like,
But as you
and
all
I've
know,
said
nobody
this,
backed Ljungberg.
but this is what I've said. I've said this for time, right? And I've said this for so many times. You helps. That's why I was always decent with Cedric around. Um, and also give it. He's a confident. He's one of them what I call confidence players. Right,
Yeah,
give him
yeah, yeah,
five
yeah,
games, and then he'll
yeah,
start producing results.
yeah,
And he's done that every time he's got a consistent run of games. But the problem is that he plays 2 games, gets dropped. Plays 2 games, gets dropped. Plays 2 games, gets dropped. Right, and now he's not had a run in since like the only chance he gets a run out is when he's doing training, or when he's in the gym. Right,
yeah.
Ace,
like,
Well,
and then
sorry, I just saw this
Exactly,
comment
yeah,
from Mark
that's funny.
yeah, I
saying
That's
know,
funny to
mate.
be
driving in,
I
fair.
know, mate.
and he's
Mate,
not even
trust me.
lying. That's what's so funny.
Say, trust me. I've had to driven into freaking Camberwell. That's not fucking easy.
No, no, it's not. It's not. It's not.
That
Big
is
up
more one
Manny.
of them. I'm coming through here, and I don't give a fuck what you say.
Yeah, mind your words. But yeah, Nice talking, buying lots of players. Yes,
Mm.
I didn't know they got an owner with money. What do you guys make of this link? Callum Hudson-Odoi. I want to hear
No,
Bobby,
your
Bobby, you go
your
first.
idea. Yeah, Bobby, you go first.
To be fair, it's his agent doing a lot of the work at the moment because Hudson-Odoi wants to out of Chelsea. He does not want to be there because he's not going to get picked under
Yeah,
Tuchel. It's just
he
not
should
going
have
to
gone to Bayern Munich when he had a lot of chance.
Arteta does like him. I personally don't know why. He's not for me. Sasha might have a different opinion about him, but he's not. He's not for me. Not for me at all.
Why do we need him though? I mean, like, our main issue at the minute is in.
is he any
And we
better
know
than
where
Reece
it is.
Nelson? Like,
It's no, but it's the
Maybe just a
main.
little bit, but
But here's the
yeah,
thing: it's the main. Our main issue has been the main issue since 2006. Right, right. There's always someone in midfield we need, and that's been the
yeah, yeah,
constant case since
yeah,
2006.
yeah,
Since we let go of Vieira, it's always we
yeah,
need someone in the middle. We need someone in the
yeah,
middle. We need someone in the
yeah,
middle. And again, that team would be nearly complete if we had someone in the middle. I'm
yeah,
sorry, Granit Xhaka might be doing well, right? You know, at some point he will do his moment of madness.
yeah,
He will
yeah,
do. No, I could put a £10 bet. He will get at least 3 to 5 red cards,
yeah,
and that's probably in a season
yeah.
because he's
And
stupid.
yeah, yeah. But
They,
going back to Callum
everyone forgets,
Hudson-Odoi.
but this is. Sorry, I'm just going to say, everyone forgets about that, right? We're all forgetting about it now because it's the first 2 games this season, right?
What did
Yeah,
I
But when it
say in
comes
our
to it,
Discord? I said
when it
since
yeah,
comes,
Inception ever, we've never replaced. We've always one short.
yeah,
Always, all
yeah,
the
that's
time.
what I'm
yeah,
saying. And but when it comes to that one key game that we need to win, say like Spurs or something like that, he'll do something stupid,
yeah,
like,
yeah.
and
No,
it'll be
I
like,
hear that.
"Oh, get him out again." Well,
I hear that.
and
I think for
this guy's
me,
a vice, and
and
this guy's a vice captain
for
after
me,
what
yeah,
he's done.
for me, yeah. And we're not gonna speak too much about Granite because I know it's a sensitive topic, and I want a good mood on today's podcast. But for me, I don't mind Granite being a rotational player. it's fine. You can keep him. He's been at the club for a very long time. He's experienced. We got a lot of young players. I don't mind. He can stay for a season, be rotational. But I don't want him to be the main guy. I don't want him to be the starter. I don't want us to rely on him because he is unreliable many times. But when it comes to Callum Hudson-Odoi, I feel like he should go to a team like Brighton. I think that would do him well. A team where he can play week in and week out. Because if he comes to Arsenal, he's going to face similar issues that he has at Chelsea. He's going to be on the bench. He's not going to start ahead of Saka, and he's not going to start ahead of Martinelli, and he might not even start ahead of Smith Rowe because he's not really kicked on. I know he got talent, I know he got potential, but again, I hasn't seen from him that attitude that would convince me that he's
The
ready
thing
to play for us. And I think
I
we need
see,
better
I see what
players.
happened. I see what people say in the chat, and what I'm saying is that it's all right saying yeah he's doing great now, right?
He's
But how many times has he done this? He's had the period where he looks great, he's doing well, he's doing all the right things, and then he goes off and goes on a madness and does something stupid, right? And he does something stupid, and then it's the complete letdown. The next 5 games are a complete letdown.
yeah.
And
No,
that's
I
been time
understand.
after time throughout his career. It's been a competitive pattern.
Yeah,
And
and but that's why I'm saying that I wouldn't mind keeping
that's why I have
Shaka.
no trust. I don't trust him. I don't rely on him. I don't have faith in him. Just no. I'm done. I wash my
Okay, we
hands of
got an
him.
interesting comment here from Bradley saying, I'm disagreeing with the panel on this one. To upgrade on Shaka will cost a lot. He's vital in the squad. I've done a complete 180 him to the
That's
past
fine, but
season.
I
And
can't do 180 on him,
yeah,
so I can't
I
trust him again.
respect your opinion, Bradley, and I understand where you come from. But for me, where we are now, and we want to get to the next level where we can play consistently in Champions League and we can challenge for the league title and we can get
He's not here.
trophies on a more consistent basis, it's going to cost money. And we should not settle for having good players. We should settle for having the best players. And I do
Yeah.
think that we can get an upgrade on Granite. And I do think that where we are as a team is worth it because we got a squad now where we have winners in Zinchenko and in Jesus. We got talent in Martinelli, Saliba, Saka. So why not add one or two really quality players? And
Mm,
God knows what can happen. It's still football. We've seen it before. Teams do overperform sometimes. Teams do get trophies that you didn't expect. I mean, I've seen Chelsea winning Champions League when nobody
don't
expected that. I've seen
don't get
Leicester
me.
winning the Premier League when nobody expected that. I'm not saying we're
See,
gonna do any of them too, but let's try at least to have a team where we
I'm
feel like this team can compete.
I'm gonna go. I'm gonna have to go because I've got to do my preview in a sec.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, yeah. I
So
understand.
right. I'll just say this. Right. This is why it's saying teams overperform. Right. Look at last season. Take away the fact we're fifth. Take away that fact. Right.
Yeah,
Look at the Premier League record. The Premier League record we had. It was 3 extra wins.
yeah,
It was same amount of defeats. More goals conceded. There wasn't much of a difference compared to the season before. Right? Yes, we had a shot at top 4, but the actual Premier League record, if you look at both of them, it doesn't make a lot of a difference, right? And when you weigh it all up, Man United had a dreadful season, the worst ever. West Ham were focused on Europe, right? Leicester were having a win 3-4, so they focused on Europe. You take those 3 teams that finished above us out of it, where do we end up? Fifth. Where do we finish? Right? That's why I've said it's very easy to look at us finishing fifth and think we've improved. But if you look at the Premier League record, it shows that we haven't. There are little areas we've improved, but there's a lot of areas where we still haven't. We spent 50 million on the defender, and we end up conceding more goals. Right? That's a red flag. Right?
yeah. But I
So
do think, Steven. we also have to look into context when we make assessment on last season. I
Obviously,
don't want
that's
to
why you have a
concentrate
debate
too.
about it.
I don't want to concentrate too much on last season because we are into a new season now. But
Mm,
obviously, we could see when we had Tierney, Tomiyasu, and Partey in that team. That team performed better, had more clean sheets, and won more games. This is
mm,
why, for me, we now have a replacement for Tierney in Zinchenko. We have Saliba now, who we didn't have, but we still don't have a replacement for Partey, and that worries me. If I'm honest, that's the position that worries me more than any other position because we don't play with a double pivot anymore, and we don't have anyone in the squad who can play as a lone six. I know it's hard to find that player, but part of being a big club, part of being a professional club, is to be able to find that player. It's not my job as a fan to tell the club this is the player you need.
look,
The
any
club
any
with the scouting network and I think with the resources that they have should try and do that. And I think
in
if
the
we
end,
get someone in,
I'm seeing people trying to put. I see some people trying to put context in it now. I'm not going to get into it now because it'll be
yeah,
friggin'
but
ages trying to explain it.
yeah.
Like,
But before you
but
leave, do you want to give a shout out to your channel and what you do? I know you have a preview show.
what I will say is just like you could say about Odegaard being one of the best in the league last season. This first two games, Dean Henderson's had more touches and he's a goalkeeper.
Yeah, but come
That's there you go. That's a lot. You
Steven,
can look at
come on. I know
you
you
can look
don't.
at that.
I know
You
you're
know
not.
me. You
I
know
know
me. I
you're
love
not
to throw
Odegaard's
something in there.
biggest
Like I know
fans,
you
but
know.
come
I
on,
love.
come on. Odegaard is 23 years old. He's a quality player, man. Come on,
Yeah,
don't do
I
him
just
dirty
feel
like that.
once Smith Rowe is fully fit, I think he deserves his chance.
And he will. I mean, the
Well,
manager has shown that he gives Smith Rowe chances
especially if we
when
play
he's fit.
Bournemouth and if he does the same performance.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah.
But
But do you want to
but
shout out your channel now? Let me give you the spotlight before you do your thing.
yeah, make sure you hit S50 TV. We do Arsenal Premier League content. So we don't just talk about Arsenal, so we talk about all the Premier League as well. And if you want to check out the F1 as well, make sure you check out S50 F1 as well, which is basically take the TV away, put F1 on it, and you'll find us. And yeah, just have debates. Like, if you disagree with me, fine, I don't mind. Like, if you wanna agree with me, then I ain't got a problem with that either. So, just, like, I just want to talk, just talk about this club of ours, and just hopefully have a better seat. Hopefully, this time get top four, and that's one step towards the main goal, which is try and challenge for the league. And all the money goes to Children's Liver Disease Foundation, which is what CLDF stands for.
Yeah, big up Steven. His channel is a charity channel, so everything that he makes goes to the Children Liver Disease Foundation. So if you can subscribe to his channel as Featly TV, that would mean a lot to me. And thank you for coming on, Steven. I know you have a show to do, but I
Yeah.
appreciate you.
No worries, man. Always take care, man.
All right, take care.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers.
Just,
Oh, sorry. So yeah, moving on.
just get it out the way for no
Charlie?
reason, huh? He's just
Whatever.
gone with it. No,
I
but
was supposed to
can I
move.
quickly chip in there? Like,
Yeah, yeah, of course,
I
because
don't
as I
want to
said,
make my points now that that he leaves, but he left. So now what can I do? Okay, so
yeah,
firstly, on Colin Martin Adway.
yeah,
So I'm not too sure about that one
yeah,
because being a star at a team, at a big team, not that big of a star at a big team, and then
yeah,
coming to, let's say, Arsenal like Jesus and Zinchenko and doing really well, that bracket and an actual like a reject of a top team, that bracket is like a very fine margin for me, and I'm not too sure if Hudson Odoi is in the top one or in the bottom one. I mean, like he could easily just be the reject one. So I wouldn't I wouldn't uh, gamble my money on him. I'd rather go for someone who has shown like a little bit more, or has a bit more potential, or is seen that in a better light, if you know what I mean. Because especially like Hudson Odoi, let's say he comes in, he doesn't do well at the start, everyone's going to be on his back, and it's going to be about Chelsea reject, and it's going to be about that and that and that. And I'd rather have like a fresh someone like Pedro Neto or someone like that who's going to come in and everyone's going to feel optimistic about him and half sympathize with him when he doesn't do well. So, so that's my thoughts on Callum Hudson-Odoi. Then my thoughts on Granit Xhaka.
Yeah,
So he's the player like I dislike the most for the longest time, but I have to say that he had made a full 180 on his Arsenal career. um, I'm not saying like he's the best or he's gonna win us the league and he's gonna be the star or anything like that.
yeah,
But it has to be, when you criticize someone, you also have to look at positives as well, if there are positives. I mean, if there's negatives, you have to point. You're allowed to point them out, but you're also allowed to point out when someone is doing really well. So for me, Granit Xhaka, um, when he doesn't play, you almost feel it in the midfield. Like you almost feel like we have a little less control if Granit Xhaka isn't playing. And at the moment, he's picking up good positions, and it looks like he's enjoying his time, and it looks like he's sort of had a reconnect with the fans. So I think Granit Xhaka, if you want him out, then I think it's going to be very difficult for you because he's just been named vice captain, and he's not going to be named vice captain if he was going anywhere soon. And if he were, and that was a plan to like keep him at the club, then it's going to be even worse for you because then they really want him that bad that they're willing to make him vice captain just to stay. So, but I'm not too sad about it. I think um, he doesn't necessarily deserve a second chance, but he's gonna get one anyways. So we might as well get behind him and see how he does this season. And he might surprise us at come the end of the season. He might actually do a really good job. But I do still think we need someone who's going to come in and challenge him when he lets us down. There's someone else who will be able to come in, and the level of the team does not drop. And the person coming in will also put pressure on Xhaka that he knows if he doesn't perform, he's gonna get replaced by the other guy, and that's a real important thing. Regarding last season, he said we had three more wins, but he doesn't see the progress. I mean, three more wins is a lot. It's nine
yeah,
points. It's a lot. If you put 9 points up for us this season of what we had last season, we'll have 67 points, which sorry, 78 points. I think how much did we get last season? Was it 69?
yeah. 69.
So we'll have 78 points. That'll put us comfortably in top four by like at least 5 or 6 points. We'll be top four before like when there's like 3 or 4 games left, we'll already be top four if we add another 3 wins to this season. If we then go and add another 3 wins to the season after this season, we'll have 87 points, and that's a title race. That's not necessarily winning the title, but that's also a title race. So I don't quite agree with us not making any progress because of his argument of we only got 3 more wins. I mean, 3 more wins is a lot. If you accumulate 3 more wins over a couple of years, then that's a lot of points. I mean, that's 27 points.
I
Um,
agree. I agree. I totally
and
agree. I
then
think that
yes,
what it is for me, Sasha, sorry for interrupting you, is
no,
that
it's fine.
because we've been so bad under Mikel, especially in the league, especially the first 2 seasons in the league, and the football we were playing was quite boring and quite, it wasn't the football we were used to. A lot of people have made up their mind that he's not good enough and he's never going to be good enough. So if you've already made up your mind that he's never going to be good enough, it's easier to see everything bad that he does, but it's hard to appreciate everything good that he does because you already made up your mind that he's not good enough. But I do think that the things that I like what he's done, and I've said this before, is that the squad we have now is a squad where I can look at players and I can say, oh, I like this player, I like that player, I like this player. I like that the fact that there's a bond now between players and the fans. I like the fact that the home fans and away fans, when they go to games, they are behind the team, and we haven't had that for a very long time. Now, yes, he's been backed. He's been here for a while now, but also, we had players like Mustafi, Kolasniak, Lichtsteiner. These players were starting first, and to go from there to where we are now, I think that alone is a progress. Now, whether Mikel Arteta is good enough to get us to challenge for the title, I do not know. Only time can tell. But at least this season, if he doesn't make it, we have a squad that's good enough that if a good manager comes in, we're not going backwards. We can still go upward. It's not going to be a new project. It's not going to be a new process. He can just continue adding one or two players and move forward. And that's for me, that's the difference from where we are now uh, than when we had Unai Emery, for example. But again, like it's hard sometimes when you speak about Arsenal because it's such a sensitive topic. For me, I've been critical towards the manager. Bobby knows that. I felt like last season we should have really bought in players in January. I was saying we should get Kulusevski. He can play winger. He can play as a centre forward. He's young. He's hungry. He tracks back, and he wasn't expensive. And we could have gotten him like Tottenham did on a loan, and then we could have bought him this season. I felt like we missed out on Bruno Guimaraes. He's one of them players who could have played as a lone six, but he can also play as a number eight, and he wasn't ridiculously what's it
Yeah, but
called expensive. It's
the
just my
the
opinion. Like,
yeah. No, no, I
yeah,
agree. Like from our perspective, it looks quite silly.
yeah,
Um, to why didn't we just go and get Bruno, and why didn't we just go and get um Kulusevski?
Kulusevski. Yeah, yeah,
But I'm not too sure we know everything that goes on behind the scenes, because there might be something, even if it's just a little thing, that we don't know of, that stopped us from getting that, or going for that play in that certain moment. And I'm not trying to make excuses. What Bobby knows much more than me, that goes on behind the scenes. So I don't know, Bobby, do you have for us the reason?
There was no reason why we didn't buy. Even if we bought Bruno, there would be literally no reason. We had the money. We definitely had the money
mm,
in January. I'd say we probably had close to 80 million we could have spent, which would have got
But
us Kulusevski and would have got us
but
Bruno.
but why
yeah.
didn't we go for it? Like,
They were
I think am
they were
I?
keeping. Yeah, you carry on,
Yeah,
King.
sorry. Watching the documentary, is it right to say that the club was a bit kind of in balance on what to do because they didn't expect the Aubameyang situation, and that was the main thing they wanted to deal with, and strip the club, and that's why they put so much focus on Vlahovic, even though Vlahovic was clear that he wasn't
Yeah.
gonna join us. I think that is where you can look at sometimes that we have young people who are a bit naive sometimes maybe, and this doesn't mean that they won't be better and they haven't done good things, but maybe if we had people with more experience and more knowledge, or we had more pressure from the owners, it would have been okay. Aubameyang is going, we can't get Blahovic, let's go and get another attacker, and let's go and get something in midfield because we were short on midfielders. It was Afcon, Ainsley was going, uh, you know we know that El Neni, as good as he is, he has a limit. We know that at that time we only had Granit and Partey, and if one of them got injured or suspended again, it's down to players like Patino or Lokonga. So it was like I felt like they kind of underestimated the situation, and that kind of cost us top four. But I'm also ready to give them a second chance because as I said before, we can see something now at Arsenal where we can look forward to that. Oh, something is happening at the club. Like Jesus, I don't think Jesus and Zinchenko comes to Arsenal if they don't feel like we are going in the right direction. I can be wrong. I might be naive, but I feel like them coming in, Saliba looking happy to stay, there must be something with that Arsenal core squad that they like.
The thing is, like, I also feel like we have the benefit of hindsight, and I think like it doesn't always work like that. I mean, like we could have got Kulusevski, and maybe he didn't work out at us, or Bruno. And I know I'm stretching, like I'm reaching now to like come up for a reason, because for me, like I don't feel like these persons, Bobby, you know them better than I do. I don't feel like they are stupid. Like I don't think they have no idea, that they don't know what they're doing. Like some portion of the fan base are making out. Like
Yeah,
they can
yeah,
make mistakes, and especially for us now, looking back, I mean, with the benefit of hindsight, I mean, getting Bruno would have solved the big problem for us. I mean, he would have,
so good. It's
and
so hard to watch Newcastle because he's so good.
Yeah.
and Kulusevski would have
Uh,
solved another problem for us,
yeah.
because we would have had that winger that we are now looking to get, and we also would have denied Tottenham of getting him, which is even better. But I don't know. I guess you can't win them all. Um, but I'm not too sure. Huh? Bobby, I'm not. I'm really like baffled, because you say like we had the money, but I feel like there must be a reason, like a genuine reason, like not backing, like not like with just blindly backing them, but with my logic that it doesn't make sense that they had a chance to sign them and then just chose not to because they feel like it. If you understand what I'm saying.
I think I think if Josh was in the country, that would have been a whole different situation in January. Josh wasn't here. Josh has had meetings since January. This has been a blueprint. What I'm seeing right now, because I'm obviously watching the under Arsenal 21s whilst I'm talking to you guys, is
Yeah,
Fabio is playing very much on the right. So that suggests to me that Fabio is a right wing option, and he's doing very well, to be honest. Smith Rowe is at AM at the moment as well, so that's interesting. But as regarding the January situation, I do think if Aubameyang situation wasn't there, we would have spent the money elsewhere. But we were trying. I've never actually got a clear answer why we were trying to go for someone that clearly didn't want to join us, because I think that's a waste of time. I don't understand it. I won't understand it. And I think so far the blueprint has worked for this summer, but I'm still concerned about the lack of a CM. I'm still concerned about a DM as well, but I think we're more likely to get a CM and a winger of some sort. But I'm slightly like watching this now, and Fabio looks, as I've told everyone that I rate Fabio very highly, and he's doing so well. So I'll get a proper update next week. But as far as I've always been told, we definitely should be getting two, hopefully this summer. One guaranteed, two if we move people on, and if Pepe does go and Bellerin decides to be nice and leaves, that'll be the two players, I reckon, because that's not saves 240,000 a week in wages.
yeah,
And that's what it's a balance. I totally get what Arsenal are trying to do. They're trying to take off big earners. Bellerin's
yeah.
on £100,000. Like seriously, he's a right back.
I know.
What the heck?
I know.
What's all that
Yeah,
about? Pepe 140,000. Yes, we shouldn't have gave him that much in the first place, but we did, and that was an error on our half. We'll still have to pay some of his wages if it goes to needs, but
100%.
you
The,
know,
But
the
at least
Pepe
all
one
the
will always
bonuses, performance, goal, assist, all of that it will be gone, and a chunk of his wages will be
yeah.
gone, and it will help us to bring on players that we need. And it's good. I do think that Arsenal really want to make a statement this season. I do think that uh, Josh is totally different to Stan. I do think that we can see that. We can see when Stan
100%.
was in charge, and now that Josh is in charge, it's a totally different ball game. And I do think that he has standards. Like I think that he wants Arsenal to go forward. And if it is proven that we need to change one of Mikel or Edu, he would do that. He
Josh
strikes me as that person.
Josh is the same age as me. He's
Yeah,
he's yeah he's literally 42 now. So
yeah,
you know he's young. He's
yeah,
quite a young guy really.
yeah, yeah,
Stan
yeah,
is
yeah.
like 70 or whatever it is. But
Yeah, Bradley. Bradley in the chat is calling for Matt and
Yeah,
Barney
yeah, yeah,
to
yeah.
join the chat because they're having
I,
a
I, I,
wild
I'm,
heated debate in chat while we're
I'm
just
gonna
chilling
put
here.
the link to the stream in the chat if you guys want to come in and have a word and debate your
we might
case.
not get a word in though. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
There it is. But yeah, I think that for me, going back to Arsenal, I'm more excited about them now than I was before. Uh, so
Matt
hopefully,
say it's good.
yeah, it's good. Hopefully, but I do think that there are positives we can look at. We play much better now. I like. I'm always been a big advocate of 4-3-3. Like uh, Pep Guardiola is probably my favorite manager, and as much as it hurts me, I love the way his team play football, and I like attacking football. I like creativity, and I didn't see that before, and that's why I wasn't the biggest fan. I see that more now, and I think that it's going to have a positive impact on the way we are moving forward. And we got money in the background now. Matt, you need to join the stream so it becomes fair. It's not fair if you are in the chat and Manny is here live with us. How you doing, Manny, my friend? You good?
Yeah, good, Your Majesty. How are you? Good evening, Bobby and SVW. Nice to meet you both.
Good evening. Good evening.
Yeah. Mm,
Yeah. So SWV, which part of South Africa are you from, my friend?
I'm from Pretoria.
Pretoria. Nice.
Yes,
So that's the administrative capital, isn't it?
yes.
Nice.
You've been studying your capital cities.
Not really. I mean, I have a few friends from South Africa. Of course, I knew my world affairs. I know that South Africa is the only country in the world which has three capitals.
Yeah, that's true. Weird. I don't know why we do, but eh, I didn't
you
come up
guys
with
are
it.
unique. It's a beautiful country, though. When I come to South Africa, you have to host me.
Of course, man. I'll
Good,
give you my
good,
address. You can crash at my place.
nice. You have no option. Nah, but it's a country that I admire a lot. It's a beautiful country. It's probably one of the most beautiful countries in the world. Like you guys been blessed. But yeah, going
Top-class
back to
rugby and cricket
football,
teams too.
money, spirit. Let me hear. What do you have to say about Arsenal Football Club? Can you see the light, or are you skeptical, or can you only see darkness? Where you at?
I am keeping myself on the fence, Said. I am not going to gas the team up and say, oh, everything looks rosy in the garden and we're going to do very well. I am at the same time not about to prophesize doom and gloom just yet. Because all I can say is that when you've been an Arsenal fan as long as you and I both have, and several others have, I'm sure both Bobby and SVW have, we've been here before. We have good pre-seasons, we have great starts, we're top of the table at some time before or at the turn of the year, and then it all comes crumbling down. And, I guess we feel a little bit paralyzed. And even the promise of how things might be different this time around because we have a new manager and a new set of players with different ethos, that doesn't really appeal to me much, I would say. And we've seen how things have gone pear-shaped when we needed them to be much better at different points during last season and the season before. But this season will be his last chance, but I am prepared to make sure that he gets his chance to do as well as he can. And the biggest tests will be when he comes up against the teams which finished above us in the Premier League. He will have had 3.5 seasons by the end of this season, more than twice as long as Unai Emery. So he will have no excuses if he isn't able to get the team to really progress. What Emery did in his first season was amazing because he started to help us move on from the era of Arsene Wenger, and he was trying to stamp a different type of style. I just believe, Said, that when it came to his relative lack of fluency in the English language, I don't know if he was necessarily given enough support, and certainly a lot of the abuse and the flack that he received was bang out of order. And next season, it became a stick with which to beat him as the team ended up not performing well, so he had to go. But why would you use one yardstick, that yardstick, to judge Emery, and not use that same yardstick to judge Arteta? We haven't quite made the progress, and that fifth place last season has to be offset against the fact that, as Stephen mentioned earlier, other teams who would normally compete with us had either very long and draining seasons or bad seasons. So, talk is cheap, we have to produce, but it's a new season, 2 games old. I will give him his chance, and there's no hidden, agenda. It's not a backhanded sort of compliment, if you will. I'm willing to give him his chance, but he is on the clock, for want of a
Listen,
better word.
and for me, yeah, that's all I can tell fans, that at least if you give the manager a chance, then that's fair. You might not be as optimistic as other fans are. You may not see as much positive as other fans does, but at least you're being fair. For me, where I struggle sometimes is when people have made their mind up that it's impossible. It's impossible. And for me, it gets a bit boring because when you're a fan and you love your team and you take your own time and your own emotions and you invest it into the team and you can see nothing, that's hard. That's really hard. And I've been there, and I don't want to be there again. And I feel like, again, for me, what's really encouraged me is crazy that I say that, is Josh Kroenke, because for years I was one of them. You can label me as Kroenke out or whatever you want to call them, because I didn't want them at Arsenal Football Club, because I felt like there were so many times under Arsene Wenger where if they just would have spent a bit of money and gotten us one player, like, we would have won multiple more titles. And they didn't do that. And also there was no pressure on Arsene to go on and win as well. For me, it's not always about buying, buying, buying. Sometimes it's about what's the structure, what's the blueprint, what's the expectation. I couldn't see that for many years, but I can see that now, and I think it's important. A club needs to have a blueprint on, this is the style of play we're gonna play, this is the kind of players we're gonna recruit, and this is where we want to head at. Because then that's when you can evaluate it, look into it, and say that, okay, we are on the track or we're not on the track. So if we are on the track, we keep the manager. If we're not on the track, we get rid of him. And I truly think that Josh would do that. I think that if we do well, they will continue to back Arteta. And I feel like if we don't do well, they will get rid of him. And for me, that's what's important, because I just want to support my club. I don't want to be, oh, I'm Arteta in or I'm Arteta out. I just want to look at football, enjoy it. If you do well, I praise you. If you do wrong, I criticize you. If there's something you need to break down, I break it down, and then we move on. Because I feel like the difference between where we are now and where, for example, Man United are, is that at Man United, the problem they have is that the people that owns the club
Cedric just
don't
scored
care.
a free kick. Sorry to
Yeah,
spoil it
yeah,
for you.
yeah.
Who's got a free
Sorry
kick?
to chip.
Cedric. Yeah,
Cedric.
Ah, that's
It
good.
was a
That's good.
beautiful
That's
free
good.
kick.
it was
Yeah,
good.
he's
Yeah.
good on set pieces. He is. But if you look at Man United, for example, the problem they have is their owners, the Glazers. The Glazers has no blueprint. There's no plan on, this is the way United needs to play. This is the players United are just gonna buy. This is the player we need to get rid of. No, it's all about, oh, Sancho will sell us shirts. Let's go and buy Sancho. Ronaldo will sell us shirts. Let's go and buy Ronaldo. Pogba will sell us shirts. Let's go and buy
King,
Pogba. Yeah,
King, can I quickly chip in because I'm seeing this now?
yeah.
So I see Albert Stuivenberg, Granit Xhaka, Carlos Cuesta, Mikel Arteta, Per Mertesacker, Gabriel Martinelli, Richard Garlick, and Vina. All of them at the under 21 games watching in attendance. So it's quite
Wow.
nice for me. Like I feel like we have a nice. I know it. Like we have a nice togetherness. I feel like some people might disagree and say it's more of a PR thing, but I feel like there's genuinely a nice feel around the club. a nice culture around the club. I know Mani said earlier in the chat that he doesn't care about the culture. He just cares about good football and good results, which is fair. But for me, it's also it's nice to be part of a team that has this type of culture. Like it's nice watching an under 21 and there you see all these people sitting together watching the under 21s game. For me, it's really nice.
Yeah, I think
Oh,
it shows that they care. Because I think if you don't care at all, why would you go and watch under 21s on your free time?
agreed. And that is also the same thing with energy, which has to be shown towards the women's team in light of the Euro success for England, for which Leah Williamson and Beth Mead played a very big part. They need support as well. And you talk about that culture. You were spot on there. That is how it should basically be. But another part of the culture, which I spoke about in the chat, is the likes of Ben White basically making crystal clear that he didn't even know who Patrick Vieira was. There needs to be some sort of an idea that when you come to a club of the stature of Arsenal or Manchester United or Liverpool or Chelsea or anyone, you make it a point to learn about the history of the club, respect that history, and allow that to sort of wash over you, and really feel to yourself, wow, I'm a part of this, and I really need to emulate this example. And especially given that Ben White was inheriting the number 4 shirt, which was worn by Patrick Vieira, ironically, for several years, you would think that a player coming to a club of this magnitude, taking the jersey number of a player who of that stature, should want to learn a little bit more. That was the way Peter Schmeichel was when he came to Manchester United. He would have posters and he would dream about playing at Old Trafford. But when you sort of have that culture where people who come in just don't want to know about the history of the club, who feel so entitled to just be there, and who say that they want to simply focus on playing football as an excuse for trying to for not wanting to take genuine criticism or whatever it may be. That culture of respect, if it's not there, then that sort of defeats as well the entire purpose. There are many people who have made great contributions to the club over the years, and when they speak, if they offer some genuine criticism, sometimes you have to learn to take it. But also, as a player, you've got to be willing to immerse yourself in that history, knowing that you're a part of it. And failure or refusal to do that simply isn't the way. I'm sorry. That was one of the reasons why I'm skeptical about this whole changing the culture nonsense. Because if you want to change the culture, you've got to change it holistically and make everyone truly want to buy into not just what the manager says, but what the club itself is all about and what it has been about since 1886.
Do you want to say something there, Bobby? I know you also one of them who is very not much on board on where we are right now as a club. So it would be interesting to see what you have to say.
See, regarding the Arsenal women, Vinay attends every Arsenal women's game. I've watched it since I was 14, so in 1994, because where they're playing now, Meadow Lane, is literally about 100 metres away from my nan's, so we used to go and watch it every time we visit nan's. Regarding everyone being there right now, Richard Garlick is, for me, the guy that needs to get the most credit for this window. He has done marvellous things. Getting Jesus, I know exactly who was after him, and us getting Jesus is like winning the lottery, to be honest. The culture, I think I'm from the George Graham era, so I'm way older than probably all three of you, to be fair. The culture has changed, but it had to change because Wenger changed it. Wenger changed it for over 2 decades, let's say. It's never going to go back there. It's never going to be... I kind of agree with the Ben White situation. I kind of get annoyed that he doesn't actually watch videos, because I think if he had a good chat with Tony Adams, he'd learn to be a better defender. I slightly worry about him long term. I think I said to you, King, that I think he's got the potential to be like Tony Adams in defence. But then you then hear about it, and I haven't seen All or Nothing. I'm not going to see it until all the episodes are out, so I can actually binge watch it all. and I slightly concern about his mentality. That's my only concern about Ben White. I think he's got a lack of mentality for football, and when you play for Arsenal Football Club, you put that shirt on with pride. You don't put it on for a job. If you do, to be honest, you don't deserve to be in the Premier League, to be honest, because you should be putting that shirt on to play for a football club with passion. That's what football's all about. You know me, I am football mad. Every club that I know about and maybe I work with and I chat with, it's about passion for the club, passion about football. If you think class it as a job, you're in the wrong job, because this is about passion football. I play football at a semi-pro level. I still have passion. The people that do football for a giggle are the ones that go to the park, put some jumpers down on the playground and have a kick around. When you're playing for Premier League. Yeah, go on, Sash.
Yes,
Yeah.
sorry for interrupting. Can I quickly interrupt? Okay,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I don't know Ben White personally, of course, and I don't know every detail of him behind the scenes. So I'm not aware of him not knowing the history and those type of things. Like, I have heard that he said that he doesn't in his free time watch football. But other than that, the only Ben White that I know is the one that plays the game. So I watch Arsenal's games and I watch the full games and I um, watch the videos they make, of course, and all those type of things where I see Ben White, um, a bit of his personality, but mostly I see him during the game, watching him play the game. And for me, I don't see necessarily what you two are seeing, but that is because I don't know him necessarily as good as you do. But for me, when he plays for Arsenal, he always shows passion on the pitch. So I don't know if he doesn't necessarily show passion off the pitch, which I wouldn't know of. But for me, so far Ben White has been showing passion on the pitch as well as performing on the pitch, which is two of the most important things for me. And I don't know. You guys might know better if he's like hurting the ethos of the whole group. If he has like that type of personality that everyone is pulling one direction and he's pulling another because he just feels like it, like we had with Aubameyang, for example, or and Ozil, for example. I don't know if he's there, or even if he has the potential to be there in, let's say, 5 years time or something. But from what I've gathered from Ben White, is like he really impresses me when he plays, and it looks like he really wants to play when he plays. That's just what I wanted to say.
Yeah, I'm just gonna jump in a bit, like the devil's advocate. And for someone like me who didn't grow up in England, who necessarily is not like, I respect passion, and I think it's a very important term in football. I really do. But I think that sometimes there's a misconception about who is a passionate player and who's not a passionate player. And I feel like when I watch Ben White play football, I don't look at him as someone who doesn't care. And I feel like we now live in a world where people will not be, everybody will not have the mentality of a Tony Adams. And that's just the truth. We would all love to have a team full of Tony Adams who only play for this name, and people will remember him for what's written at the back. But unfortunately, football has moved on from that phase. We will we will see less and less Tony Adams, and we will see more and more Ben White. But for me, as long as you give your everything on the pitch, and when it's training, you're there to learn, and you're there to watch, and you're there to analyze and get better. That's what I want to see from a player, because there are players who are very passionate, but they're not very good as well.
That point that you just made then, that's my concern off the pitch with Ben White. There is mistakes in Ben White. I think we can all agree that. There is mistakes in him. That is what he should be going off that pitch and doing. and he's not. He's. I think he's stated categorically he doesn't watch football videos back. Now,
I
there's
think,
no reason not to do that.
No, I think what
even
he
if you
what
watch
he said.
your own game and see, okay, I could have done this better. That if he did that, I'd be quite happy with that. But he doesn't watch football back, and that concerns me.
No, I think what it is. I think that's a misconception. Every professional football player has to watch their game back because the club forces them. It's
Yes.
part of their training. I've been to a few football clubs and I've seen that. And Arsenal, the level they play at, they do watch back their games. I think what it is that when he comes home, you know how some players watch Man City.
Yeah.
He doesn't watch Man City play, and that's the thing. But there's lots of players before who said that are bigger and much better than Ben White. Like Ronaldinho said that several times. I even think had like players like
Wesley
Zidane say
Sneijder.
that, Wesley Snyder. Like, so that's why for me it's like I love football. I watch football almost every day of my life. I'm still not a Premier League player. Like at the end of the day, you can watch, you can repeat, you can all of that, but if you don't have the talent, it won't improve you. And I think that at some point, footballers are also humans, and some of them, people have different personalities. People take in different things different ways. Maybe some players need a pause. Maybe when they get home, they need to not focus on football. And yeah, Manny, you can jump in.
Just jump right in and say that all of you have made some wonderful points. I love, Said you really should have studied to become a lawyer and advocate. I'm sure you do an amazing job. And Bobby, I do like what you said as well, and how everyone's contributed. I will say this: nobody is expecting Ben White to become the new Tony Adams, because there can never be two Tony Adams
Thankfully.
in North London, in the entire United Kingdom or the world. I mean, maybe they are, but they don't have the same nationality. But here's the thing: all we want is to see a more improved footballer, someone who has a commitment to making sure that he improves from his mistakes and becomes a better player for it. And also, at the very least, that's how sometimes you show passion. Not by simply doing an Aaron Ramsdale and going, "What a shambles!" in the dressing room and throwing your kid across the field. No, you've got to show a commitment to trying to improve your mistakes, see where you went wrong, and also concentrate a lot more. There's a reason why why many of us slate Ben White and give him the names that we've given him, is that because it isn't simply that he's made mistakes; he's made the same sort of mistakes. And I think there was an image where I think it was a game against Liverpool. It might have been the League Cup in the League Cup, I think, where he was just making this sort of sneering face at one of the Liverpool players who had missed a sitter. And then we all know what happened to the team that season or something like that. So you've got to show that sort of commitment to try and make sure that you improve your own game and be a better person the next time around, because you're only as good as your last game. Perfect example, our former goalkeeper, Emiliano Martinez, who has achieved magnificent things since leaving Arsenal. In his first season at Aston Villa, I believe he had a home game with the Villains against West Ham. They lost that game 3-1, and he was deemed to be at fault for, I think, one or two of the West Ham goals. I don't remember. I think Jesse Lingard scored twice that day. Now, obviously, he was signed by Dean Smith to be their number one. They shelled out 20 million quid on him, and it was the best money they had spent in a long time, at least some of it. After that game, what he immediately went and did was he saw videos of that. And he stayed back during the following training session for some extra training to make sure that he wouldn't make that same mistake again. And he never made another mistake that season. He got 15 clean sheets that season. It was a magnificent debut season for him. And even though his second season wasn't quite as good by his high standards, he certainly didn't make any major mistakes that cost games. Of course, there was that game at Old Trafford where he allowed them to go through his legs, but he never had a sustained period of bad form. And he's also gone from strength to strength with Argentina. So players make mistakes. They're human. They're not robots. But players have to show a commitment to improving themselves and making sure they do better for the team. Until Ben White is willing to do that, I'm not saying that he should necessarily, immerse himself in football and make sure that he becomes extremely analytical and becomes obsessed with it. No. He's got to remember that you make a mistake, don't do it again. Improve your positional sense of play. Don't make those same mistakes again, and be a better footballer every single time. Try and be at the level of the likes of Saliba or Gabriel. Maybe it's too early to judge Saliba, but at least Gabriel and Saliba are a little bit more consistent. Do whatever you have to do to raise your level that will benefit the team in the long run and also benefit yourself. If Ben White can't show that, and if he starts to show that, then maybe I can cut him some slack. But I don't see that in him. And there are other players who may not show passion, but they show their passion in a different way. They try to improve themselves. It's not just about, releasing that nervous energy. You've got to improve yourself. And that's what not just Ben White, but every player in that squad needs to emulate. Simple as that.
You're on mute. You're on mute, King.
I've muted myself. Wonderful. But I feel like a lot of people are too harsh on Ben White. I think people forget that he came to Arsenal. He was just 22 or 23 years old. It was his first season in a big club. And I think he did all right. I think he had games where he made some obvious mistakes. But I think that so did Gabriel. And Gabriel has been at Arsenal longer. I feel like people are more critical to Ben White because of the money we spent on him, the fact that he came in and Saliba went on loan, the fact that he was the manager's choice. I feel like, and the fact that he's very different to the kind of players or defenders that we are
It's
used
because
to.
he's got that Love Island attitude, and then people hate him because of that.
Yeah, I think that I do think that. I feel like, and I'm gonna give another example. Yeah, when people talk about Paul Pogba, for example, you hear stuff like he's toxic, he doesn't care, he's problem in the dressing room. You hear all of that, but then when you ask players who play with him, when you watch videos, he's always doing banter. He's always on a good mood. He always try to raise up his players. You've never heard anything. I've never heard Paul Pogba be drunk. I've never heard him been in a fight. I've never heard him done anything of that. But it's almost like the media had decided that he's the villain, and then people just run on that. And I feel a bit like with Ben White, yeah, he can play 5 good games, and then he has one game that he makes a mistake, and then that's it. He's not good enough. Look at that mistake. Look what he did, and then that's that. I feel like I want to give him at least another full season and see how he does before I start to become more critical towards him, because I don't feel like he was as bad as people said that he was last season. And I definitely felt like when we had more protection in midfield, when Thomas Partey was there, when Tomiyasu was there, he had some really solid performances. I don't know if you guys agree to that, but that's how I felt like.
For me, Ben White, it's not that I don't like the player. He's just got
Yeah,
the ability to learn. There's a couple of things that are very simple for him to get right. Very simple. Just keep heading the ball, because he's not very good at it, and he's meant to be a centre back. That is something you need to be able to do as a centre back. I was a right back. If I had a centre back that couldn't head the ball, I'd be scared the whole game. I would be petrified. And what I do know of him about off the field, he's a great lad. I've got nothing bad to say about him off the field. I know he's a very nice lad off the field, and he's not. I know he's not a problem. I know about Pogba, that is a problem. So I'm glad Man United got rid of him. But Ben White, honestly, I've only heard very good stuff about him. So yeah, all I want him to do is literally just stand back and just keep heading the ball. That's what I used to. I remember when I started playing football, I didn't like to head the ball. I've got a crack in my skull, so I wasn't confident. So I just kept heading the ball for like 100 times until I felt comfortable doing it. And that's all I'm asking Ben White to do, is just stay back and just head the ball a few times until you're confident and know what you're doing. That's all.
yeah, yeah,
But I feel like that is also a bit something that gets like, because someone said he's not good at hitting, and then it snowballs into that Ben White isn't a good hitter of the ball, but he actually is quite decent. The same with Ben White isn't tall. He's too small. He's not tall
Oh,
enough
I
to
don't
be
care
a
about the
commanding
height.
centre back.
Oh, the
Yeah,
height
but
bits.
but
Yeah.
it's not true because he actually is tall. I remember my dad coming in and he's like, "Who's the new centre back?" And I'm like, "It's Ben White." And he's like, "Where did they sign him from?" I'm like, "Brighton." And he's like, "Why does Brighton have all these big, tall defenders?" And that just made me
He
laugh
looked
because that's
small because he was
someone.
against Lewis Dunk. That's why he looked small. He was
Yeah,
next
yeah,
to
Yeah,
Lewis
yeah.
Dunk.
but that's just the thing for me. Like, there's this bias, there's this agenda created that people that makes people
Yeah.
think stuff that isn't necessarily true. Like, someone comes from the outside and he's like, "Where do we get this tall defender from?" Whereas this football world, this football Twitter, or this football atmosphere thinks he's not a big defender. So that's just a point I'm trying to make.
This is
Um,
two
for
great comments from Ed and Matt. And he's saying, "Is Ben White bad in the air, or did he have one bad day at the start of last season?" I mean, his stats in the air is better than Gabriel's. If you, I know that people hate when you bring up stats, but I'm just giving context that, like, sometimes, yeah. And I say that when, like, it's like some players, like, we made up our mind that they are weak. So whenever they lose a one-on-one duel, that's it. They're weak. That's what we remember. I'm gonna look into Ben White more this season, and then I'll come back to that. I will. But as Matt said as well, like, Saliba isn't great in the air. It's probably his weakest point in his game is that he's not good in the air. I do think he's improved during the season at Marseille,
Yeah.
but
He was great
he
last
needs
season.
to get better in the air, and it's going to be interesting to see how he deals when he meet people like Calvert Lewin or Ivan Tony, Callum Wilson, these players that are great in the air. But yeah,
Exactly.
let's see, like, let's see. And also, do you guys like him at right back in his new inverted right back role? Well, what do you feel, Manny? And then I'm gonna ask Sasha and Bobby as well.
Yeah, let me just segue to that by saying I am going to watch White and Saliba all season and see how they perform. Then we can certainly make a judgment. But White doesn't have that much credit in my book. And segueing back to your question now, no, I don't like him as an inverted right back because he did make some good number of tackles against Crystal Palace. I think it was 8 tackles or something like that. But there were several moments during that game, and you can also testify to that, say, he kept drifting and losing his positional sense, and he had to have people covering for him. Even against Leicester, when I think he was also right back, he had James Justin and company just roaring down that left wing, terrorizing him, and he didn't really seem to have much of an answer. A little bit like the way Gabriel Martinelli was able to terrorize Wesley Fofana in that game. So when you consider that his speciality is being a centre back, you put him at right back. He's almost like a duck out of water. He doesn't seem to have that versatility, unlike some other defenders who do enjoy being either pushed either to the left or in the middle, or the right or the middle. He didn't really look that good, and I am waiting for when Tomiyasu comes back. There is going to be a selection dilemma. He will probably be dropped, but again, that's another reminder, say, that he needs to definitely improve his game. Gabriel has made some improvements. Yes, he's made some mistakes. Everyone's made mistakes. And again, people have to be the best versions of themselves, not be the new someone else. I'm not asking that from them. But you join a club to play for us. You have to improve yourself, be the best version of yourself, the one that we believe you are, which is why we spent that much money on you. It's as simple as that. But
Yeah.
I'm going to give him a chance, but he has to prove himself. Simple as that.
What about you, Sasha? What's your view on White as a right
Ben
back?
Wright, Ben
Yeah.
Wright. Well, I'm gonna disagree with Moni on this one.
Yeah.
He has made some decent points. He does not look like your orthodox uh, fullback, right back. But the thing is, like, Arsenal don't play with orthodox fullbacks, and that's the thing that might make him be a better right back at Arsenal than he will be at another club. Like, I know he played right back for Brighton a bit, but my point is, Ben White, I almost feel like he could be like a right centre back, but he could also be like a defensive midfielder. And also maybe like an inverted right back, like the way we are playing with our right backs right now, where he drifts sort of into midfield. And yes, he does get out of position, but fullbacks usually get out of position, and someone has to cover for them. That even if it's just a normal overlapping fullback, or whether it's the inverted fullback that goes into midfield. For me, I like Ben White at right back because it almost feels like we have a bit more physicality when I feel a bit more confident in terms of physicality when I see White, Saliba and Gabriel starting together in the back line. It almost feels like we're a bit more solid. It feels like that. It could be just perspective as well, but for me it feels like that. And then if Tomiyasu comes back fully fit now, it's perfect for me. Like I don't care about who's gonna start. Is it White or is it Tomiyasu? Like I don't have agendas towards player. I just want Arsenal to be good, and the fact that we have two options shows for me that we are progressing, and it's just exciting times for me because Ben White is not, like I've said before. Like we're gonna have 60 games this season. Hopefully, like of course we could get knocked out early, but the team just feels like even the second team feels just like a little bit stronger, that we could go a little bit further with them should they have the chance. Of course it also depends on the draws and stuff in the cups, but I do think we'll progress through the Europa League group stages and progress a few rounds in the cups, and then we'll get up to 50, even probably 60 games. And Ben White is not going to play 60 games. No player in the Arsenal team are going to play 60 games 90 minutes. Therefore, we must have options. We must have Ben White and we must have Tomiyasu for right back options, and then also Cedric if none of those two are available. Like I know Cedric is a drop off in quality. He's a level below them. Um, if you want to say it in such a vague way. Um, so there is a bit of a drop off, but Cedric is not he's not useless. I think he gets also a bit over criticized. Sorry, um, but I do think if Cedric plays at right back and the rest of the team is the first team, it's different from Cedric playing at right back and the rest of the team is not the first team, because 10 players can carry a team, whereas like 5 or 6 players can't carry a team. So if Cedric plays in the Premier League and it's Saliba, um, Gabriel and Tierney, and Partey and Odegaard playing with him, then Cedric is still a good option. He's not gonna lose us the game. Um, Potentially, I don't want to jinx anything now,
Yeah, but we get
So
your
yeah,
point,
like
and
yeah,
it's
like
a solid one. It is.
for the foreseeable future,
Mm.
um, until we like start rotating the team and stuff, like I would, in my opinion, keep Ben White for at right back for now, uh, until there's gonna be rotation, and then because we don't have a lot of centre backs, Ben White is probably going to have to start rotating at centre back as well. So like I said in the Discord, in Tom's Discord once, like I'm really excited about the fact that we could have 3 games in a week, and we could have on the one game we could have Saliba and Ben White right back, and then the next game we could have Saliba centre back and Tomiyasu right back, and the next game we can have White centre back and Tomiyasu right back, and that's 2 games for each player in a week's time instead of the 3 games in a week, and both of them are strong because last season we've already seen that Ben White and Tomiyasu together does work. When they play together, like not only them, like the whole team, but them two together, it has worked, and we have done well and got good results with them. So yeah, like I said, and we've seen now Saliba and Ben White does kind of work in the small sample size we do have, and I'm sure Saliba and Tomiyasu will work well together as well. So I'm over the moon. I'm not carried away fully, but I am really like happy and over the moon with where we are at the moment. Like, of course, I still want the 2 signings. Please, Edu, Garlic, get me 2 more players so that I can be fully excited. But yeah,
100%. What about you, Bobby? Before I say my bits on it.
I just want to point out Matt's comment about if his name was Benito Coutinho, it would be different. No, it's got nothing to do with that. It's got nothing to do about his name. I'm not even saying he's a bad player. He's got mistakes in him where he can learn and fix those mistakes quite easily. That's all I'm saying. I think he is a decent player. I liked him. I wanted him when he was at Brighton anyway. I watched him when he was at Leeds. You know how much I watched the Championship kid.
Yeah.
I liked him at Leeds. So it's got nothing to do with his name. It's just a couple of things I just wish he would just iron out, and now I think he'd be a great player. But he's not a guaranteed starter, and that's great for us as an Arsenal fan. We've actually got, and some of you might not remember, but we've got Steve Bold, a Tony Adams, and a Martin Keown situation, which I love. That was the last three centre backs that I was like, don't know who's going to play today. The drop off was Andy Linnigan, so that's Rob Holding. So that's the drop off. But no, I'm excited.
David O'Leary.
Oh crikey, yeah, David. Yeah. Well, to be fair, he's part of the setup, so I can't leave him out of it. But yeah, to be honest, that's all I've got to say. It's not that I don't like him. I think if the Crystal Palace game, we take that into consideration, how much of our fan base was split on that performance. Some people thought it was great. Some people thought it was horrid. I was the one that I thought that Saliba protected him a lot in that game. But that's my opinion, and some of us thought differently, and that's fine. That's football. Not everyone sees football in the same way, and that's beautiful, and that's why I like it. But I'm definitely not saying he's an awful player, because he's not. He's just got a couple of things he just needs to iron out, and he'll be great.
Yeah, I mean, from my point of view, and the way I look at football, and I always say this: there's no right and wrong. Everybody has their opinion. Everybody analyzes football different, and everybody likes different things in football. But from the way we are playing now, which is more of a 2-3-5 system, when we attack, I like Ben White in that role because he's very pivotal in with his passing ability, because he breaks the lines a lot and he helps us in our build-up play because he's very comfortable on the ball. And obviously, he's never going to be a Bakary Sagna at right back, who for me was probably the last right back we had who was so good on one-on-one.
I was wondering where you were going now. So if you were going to say that was our best right back, I'm definitely going to come down the screen and say no.
No.
That's Lee Dixon. That's Lee Dixon for me, always.
No, of course. But I like that we got two different right back options. So you know, when we play with Tomiyasu, he's our best defender in the air. His position is always spot on. One-on-one, is spot on. I really rate Tomiyasu. I don't understand where the critics goes to him that he's not good enough to play for Arsenal. I don't really get that. And it was his first season coming from Serie A as well. I think people sometimes doesn't take things into consideration. But I feel like when we are playing, like we're facing Bournemouth on this weekend, I think it's on Saturday, if I'm not wrong. I prefer Ben White playing when we're playing Bournemouth, and when we are playing more other oppositions where we're gonna have less of the ball, I prefer Tomiyasu because we're gonna defend more, and I think as an out and out defender at right back, Tomiyasu is better. But as an out and out right back, when we need to have possession and break play and swing the ball from right to left, I prefer Ben White. But it's gonna be interesting to see. You know, it's a new situation for both of them. It's a new situation for the club, and there's more expectation on Arsenal as well this season. It's gonna be interesting to see how everyone reacts. But quickly before we end the stream, yeah.
Just a very quick point. The biggest problem with having Ben White as a right back is that I don't know if he can overlap as well as Tomiyasu can. And let's not forget, we play Saka on the right wing, who's naturally left-footed. Yeah. So it's like if you can have a right back who can really defend well and also reads the lines well and also make sure that he's solid, it puts less pressure on Saka, I would say. I don't want to see a situation where Saka feels as though he has to work a little bit more. That's why I'm not too fond of White at right back.
Yeah, but the problem is that the system we play now, our right back doesn't really overlap. It's more like the Man City system where Cancelo comes in and it's more like an extra midfielder. Like we don't really play with that overlapping right back anymore. It's the same with Trent. He doesn't really overlap. It's more when Cedric plays that Cedric can only overlap. That's when we have a right back that really overlaps. But it's going to be interesting to see, you know, when Tomiyasu comes, how we're going to set up the team and if it's going to have a positive impact on Bukayo Saka. But really quickly, I would like to hear everyone's prediction for the game Arsenal versus Bournemouth away on Saturday, 5:30 p.m. Let's start with Sasha. What's your prediction?
I said on Tom's show that I was gonna go for 3-0 Arsenal. Not a like a scoreline flattering type of 3-0, like more of scoreline flattering 3-0. It's not gonna be an easy game for us. Definitely, they're gonna be defensive and they're gonna have a high intensity. It's gonna be away from home, and it's never going to be easy. But I still like something in me like feels like this Bournemouth team on this specific day won't be the challenge that's going to beat Arsenal or hold Arsenal. So I'm gonna go for 3-0, but a very flattering 3-0. And I'm thinking of changing it to 2-0, but for the purpose of staying consistent, we're gonna go with 3-0 with our front line to score a goal each. One for Saka, one for Jesus, and one for Martinelli. I just want to say, like, Martinelli has been absolutely insane for me. Like, he has been the source. Like, I mean, flair, work rate, finishing, aerial ability, beating defenders, tackling them, fouling them. Like, he's been tops for me. Like, I'm so in love with Martinelli at the moment. Like, Gabriel Jesus as well. Like, what a difference he has made coming into the team. What a special player he is. It feels a lot like the Alexis Sanchez signing. It's like a player that, how did we get him? We shouldn't have been able to get him, but we did get him. And now he has already, look at what he's done to Martinelli already so far. Like, they seem to be on the same wavelength immediately. And so I'm excited for our attack. It feels to me like we're definitely going to score a lot more goals this season. And with Saliba, like, I watched a bit of Saliba last season. I didn't watch much League One, but I did watch the Conference League where he played, and I did watch him in the international break for France. And I had to say, in the games that I watched there, I thought he was decent. I thought he was maybe good enough for Arsenal, but I didn't think he was going to come in and be this, like, Rolls Royce, the superstar. I know it's a small sample. It could just be a purple patch. I don't want to. I'm
No,
not going to get carried
he's awesome.
away
Ah,
just yet,
he's the
but
deal.
he
He's the
is.
deal.
He is. Yeah, he's the Gabriel Jesus of centre backs, if you know what I mean. Like, he has made such a big difference already, and I think
Yeah.
with Saliba, and I think if you play Ben White to add that physicality on the away game, and you have the same team that we played in the previous two games, I think it's going to be a tough game, a rough game, but I do think we are going to able to convert two or three of our good chances and win the game and keep them out.
What about you, Bobby? What's your prediction?
We're not keeping them out. The last 4 times we've played them at the Vitality, we've let in a goal. We've let in 5 in 4 games against them at the Vitality. There's even a mention that someone's actually predicted that Bournemouth are going to actually beat us, which I don't quite go with that one, but I'm going to go with 2-1 Arsenal, but we are going to let a goal in. Yeah,
Right.
I'll leave it
Is
at that.
that down to a very underrated coach in Eddie Howe and Bournemouth having the team Bournemouth had then with with your Callum Wilsons, your Josh King, Ramsdale in goal, and what's that winger who plays for Newcastle now, who was really good at one point, and we almost bought him. I forgot his name. He's quite short.
It's quite short.
He's a winger that went from Bournemouth to Newcastle. He can only be
Fraser.
one pass. Yeah,
Fraser.
Fraser. Yeah. That team was a good Bournemouth team. I feel like that team is much better than the team they have.
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay.
Maybe that's
People
why
have
they
really got to understand the Championship because Matt said it as well.
Yeah.
Scott Parker is a very good coach. He is.
Yeah.
I watched him last season.
Yeah.
Bournemouth are a very decent team, and they've hardly changed it. And sometimes that can benefit you. Look what they did against Aston Villa. They beat them. They shocked them. They shocked them to their core. They beat them 2-0. They didn't even let a goal in. Right? And yes, they lost 4-0 to City, but that's City. This is at Vitality Stadium. If this was at the Emirates, I'd probably say 3 or 4-0.
Yeah.
This is at Vitality. This is a different ground. It's very small. It's very compact. It's a bit like the community stadium with Brentford. You can't underestimate Bournemouth. We shouldn't, because if we're going into that game, underestimate, we could actually there could be a shock result. So I'm going for a 2-0 on Arsenal. I'm not changing my mind on that one at all.
All right, great. What about you, Manny? What's your prediction?
Well, I'm going to disagree with you there, Bobby. I think it's fair to say that, Bournemouth actually played above themselves when they beat Aston Villa. And obviously, the likes of Kiefer Moore had a good game, as did several others. Travers looked good. That was despite the fact that Aston Villa actually dominated Bournemouth, mind you, and Bournemouth took their chances. And I'm also going to say that the Bournemouth team then also had the benefit of one Nathan Ake, who I believe is still at Manchester City, or has he moved up?
Yeah,
he's
still there.
Yeah, they had a good team.
So this is a different team, obviously. I mean, they're definitely a very spirited team, and if it's anything like the Fulham team, which have also shown spirit, they will definitely be a tough option. But seeing the way Arsenal have been able to dominate Crystal Palace and Leicester before, sadly yet predictably taking their foot off the jugular, I actually think that Arsenal will definitely score. You might be right in saying that they will let one in, but they'll score more. So it's a mixture of both Sasha and Bobby. 3-1. Peter Moore will probably score for Bournemouth.
Okay, and then I honestly, I don't know if it is the fantasy guy in me, but I'm predicting 4-0. Another 2 goal by Jesus and one by Martinelli and one by Saka. Maybe it's the FPL in me, but the thing is, the way we have started games, I can't see how Bournemouth is gonna handle our pressure, and they are gonna sit back. So I think 4-0 Arsenal. But we've all predicted the win. As long as we win, I'm a happy man. But honestly, guys, thank you for tuning in. I'm gonna let all of you shout out where people can find you. I'll start with Sasha.
SVW Sports on Twitter. Like it's displayed on the screen. I'm close to 1,000 followers now on Twitter. If you want to go help me reach 1,000, that'd be nice. Otherwise, yeah, hopefully you'll see me on Show of King again.
Absolutely, man. And Bobby, where can people find you?
Well, if you want to see what happens with the Bournemouth Arsenal game, I'm actually doing a watch along on FTV Sports because I'm now the new host on there, and also Football Values TV. But thanks, King.
Thanks for coming on. It's always a pleasure. And my guy Manny, where can people find you?
No YouTube channel as of yet, but you can see me on several other channels. SVP TV, Del Boy Gunner TV, Oris Talks Football, maybe one or two others in the near future, I don't know. And hopefully a few more on your channel, Sage, if you'll allow me, if I'm welcome.
100%. I have to have you on.
Thanks, brother. Quite active on social media. You can catch me at Dangdarai1981, where I post about Arsenal and a few other topics, and sometimes get ripped to shreds by a few Arteta ins. That's the light. If you want a more personal connection, it's Manny Thangadurai1981 on Instagram. And as usual, you can just see me spewing my guff, chewing the fat, floating around on YouTube wherever I'm welcome, and that's just me.
Great stuff, man. For me, like I like to have debates. I like to bring in people with different perspective. I'm not just gonna have people who are ultra positive towards Arsenal. I think it's good to hear from every side of the fan base. I think it gives a good debate as well to the channel. So thank you, Manny, thank you, Sasha, thank you, Bobby, and thank you, Steven, to all of you. And big up to the chat as well who've tuned in today. I know it's been a long show, almost 2 hours, so it's unbelievable that all of you are still here. Remember to share the content, like the content, and subscribe to the channel. I love all of you, and